The massive crystal dome of the Galactic Council chambers sparkled under the light of 3 suns. Inside, beings from 100 worlds sat in rising circular tiers, their quiet whispers filling the air with tension. At the center of it all stood Ambassador Lisa Matthews, her gray diplomatic suit crisp and perfect, her posture straight and confident. She knew what was coming. She had practiced this moment 1,000 times. "Honorable Council members," she said, her voice clear and steady. "Earth thanks you for this emergency session." Above her, the crystalline form of Elder HFY shifted, sending rainbow light dancing across the chamber walls. "Speak, human ambassador. Why have you called the council together with such urgency?" Lisa touched a small device on her wrist. A hologram appeared above the central platform, showing a complex web of neural pathways intertwined with mechanical systems. "This is the Neural Combat Integration System, or NCIS. It represents a breakthrough in human military technology." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. From the Zarkax section came a harsh laugh. Their representative, Krastel, leaned forward, his scaled skin reflecting a dull red light. "This is why you called an emergency session. To show us primitive neural links. The Zarkax mastered such technology 10,000 years ago." Lisa smiled slightly. "Perhaps you'd like to see it in action, Representative." Before Krastel could respond, Lisa expanded the hologram. New images appeared, human pilots in sleek suits, their movements perfectly synchronized with massive war machines. The data scrolling alongside the images made Elder Xenthar's crystalline body pulse with an unusual frequency. "What we're about to demonstrate goes beyond anything currently known to the Council races," Lisa continued. "Fleet Commander Morrison." A new hologram appeared, showing a strong-featured man in a navy blue uniform. He stood on the bridge of a ship, the Earth flagship Aegis Dawn. "Council members, in 1 hour we will begin a live demonstration at the Centauri testing grounds. What you will see today will change the balance of power in known space." The Ardanian delegation rustled their feather-like appendages in concern. Their representative, Lyra, spoke in musical tones. "Change the balance of power. Ambassador Matthews, this sounds dangerously close to a threat." "Not a threat," Lisa assured them. "A demonstration of capability. And perhaps," she glanced meaningfully at the Zarkax section, "a reminder that appearances can be deceiving." In his command chair aboard the Aegis Dawn, Commander John Morrison watched the council proceedings with tight focus. Behind him, officers moved with quiet efficiency, preparing for what was to come. On his tactical display, he could see Major Amy Richardson's neural squadron running their final checks. "Status?" he asked quietly. Lieutenant Samantha Wright looked up from her console. "Neural synchronization at 98.9% across all units, sir. Major Richardson reports all pilots are in the green." Morrison nodded. They had trained for months for this moment. The Zarkax thought humans were weak, technologically inferior. They had been planning an invasion of Earth space, thinking their superior numbers and technology would guarantee victory. They were wrong. Back in the council chamber, Lisa was answering questions about the NCIs. She kept her replies vague, revealing enough to intrigue, but not enough to give away their true capabilities. Chief Engineer Kevin Martinez had designed the system with multiple layers of security. What they were showing now was just the surface. "Ambassador," Elder Xenthar's crystalline voice chimed. "These readings, they suggest your neural interface achieves synchronization rates that violate known physical limits." "Known limits are made to be broken, Elder," Lisa replied. "Humanity has a long history of doing the impossible." The Zarkax representative's scales had darkened to a deep crimson. He leaned forward aggressively. "The Zarkax Empire does not believe in impossible things, Ambassador. We believe in power, in strength, in invasion plans." Lisa interrupted smoothly. A new hologram appeared, showing detailed military movements. Zarkax ship positions, attack vectors, invasion corridors leading straight to Earth. The chamber erupted in chaos. The Zarkak's delegation rose in fury, their scales now almost black with rage. Other races began shouting, some in fear, others in anger. Through it all, Lisa Matthews stood calmly at the center, the hologram of Earth's enemies' plans rotating slowly above her head. "These plans were intercepted 3 months ago," she said when the noise had somewhat died down. "They are the reason we accelerated the NCI's project, the reason we're here today." In the control center beneath the council chambers, Dr. Michelle Patterson monitored the neural feeds from the squadron. Everything was perfect. The pilots were ready. The systems were ready. Soon, the galaxy would understand that humanity wasn't just another minor race to be conquered or ignored. "Doctor," one of her technicians called out, "we're detecting scanning attempts from the Zarkak section. They're trying to analyze the neural patterns." Michelle smiled. "Let them try. They're looking at a dummy feed anyway." The real data was hidden beneath layers of encryption that even humanity's best eyes struggle to crack. The Zarkaks, for all their technological superiority, wouldn't find what they were looking for. Elder Exenthar raised their crystalline appendages, calling for order. "Ambassador Matthews, these are serious accusations. The Zarkak's empire is a founding member of the Council. To claim they were planning an unprovoked invasion is the truth," Lisa finished, "and we can prove it. But first," she looked up at the great dome of the chamber, where the 3 sons of Alpha Centauri were reaching their apex. "First, I suggest we all move to the observation deck. The demonstration is about to begin." As the council members filed out, Lisa received a private message from Commander Morrison. "Neural squadron in position, ready to rewrite history." She smiled. The Zarkaks had thought humans were easy prey. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. Humanity had spent centuries dreaming of the stars, preparing for both their wonders and their dangers. Now, finally, the galaxy would understand what that meant. The real demonstration of power hadn't even begun. The observation deck of the Galactic Council station curved outward in a perfect dome of transparent metal. Below, the Centauri testing grounds spread out across an empty sector of space. Council members pressed close to the windows, their various forms casting strange shadows in the light of the 3 suns. Major Amy Richardson sat in her neural pod aboard her fighter, eyes closed, breathing steady. Around her, the rest of her squadron waited in perfect formation. Through the neural link, she could feel them all. Their excitement, their focus, their determination. "Neural squadron, sound off," she said quietly. "Neural 2, ready." That was Paul Baker, her second in command. "Neural 3, synchronized." Linda Cooper's calm voice. "Neural 4, in position." Steve Martinez, the youngest of the group. "Neural 5, ready to show them what we've got." Carol White's enthusiasm came through clearly. In the control center, Chief Engineer Kevin Martinez watched the neural synchronization readings with pride. 5 minds working as one, each pilot connected not just to their ship but to each other. The aliens had no idea what they were about to see. "Begin primary demonstration sequence." Commander Morrison's voice came through the comm. "Show them what humanity can do." Amy opened her eyes. Through the neural link, she commanded her fighter to move. The response was instant, not like using controls, but like moving her own body. The fighter spun, twisted, and accelerated in ways that should have been impossible. The rest of her squadron followed, their movements perfectly synchronized. 5 ships moving as one, performing maneuvers that broke half a dozen laws of physics. On the observation deck, the alien representatives watched in stunned silence. The Zarkak's representative, Krasdal, had gone completely still, his scales pale with shock. "Impossible," he whispered. "The Ki forces alone should have killed them." Lisa Matthews stepped forward. "The neural interface doesn't just control the ships," she explained. "It creates a perfect synthesis between pilot and machine. The human mind adapts, learns, evolves. The ship becomes an extension of the pilot's body. In space, The demonstration continued. Amy led her squadron through a series of increasingly complex maneuvers. They split apart, each ship moving independently, but still connected through the neural net. They wove patterns in space that looked random at first, but slowly revealed themselves as a complex dance. Now, Amy said to her squadron, "Let's show them what we can really do." The 5 ships came together, their energy fields merging. This was the part that had taken months to perfect. Through the neural link, 5 minds became one. 5 ships merged their systems into a single unified field. In the control center, Dr. Michelle Patterson watched the readings spike. "Neural merger successful," she reported. "All pilots maintaining stable consciousness." The merged squadron moved as a single unit now, their combined power far greater than the sum of its parts. They created geometric patterns in space, moving faster than any ship should be able to move, turning at angles that should have torn them apart. By the ancient stars, Elder Exenthar chimed, their crystalline form vibrating with amazement. They've achieved perfect quantum synchronization. Amy felt the battle through the neural link. She didn't need to see the drones to know where they were. She could feel their presence in space, could predict their movements before they happened. Her squadron moved like water, flowing around the attacks, striking back with perfect precision. In less than 2 minutes, all 20 drones had been disabled. Not destroyed, disabled with surgical precision. Their key systems shut down without causing any real damage. "That's impossible," Krastel sputtered. "Those were our best combat drones. The targeting systems alone are based on predictable algorithms." Lisa finished for him. "The human mind, connected through the neural interface, can see patterns that no computer can match. We don't fight your drones, Representative. We dance with them." The demonstration continued. The squadron showed more complex maneuvers, more impressive feats. They created shields of pure energy, merged their ships in new configurations, moved through space in ways that defied conventional physics. Through it all, Amy and her pilots maintained perfect neural synchronization. This was what they had trained for. This was what humanity had been working toward ever since they first looked up at the stars and dreamed of reaching them. In the control center, Kevin Martinez noted with satisfaction that the alien observers were trying and failing to analyze the technology. The neural interface was too complex, too organic. It couldn't be copied or reverse engineered because it wasn't just technology. It was a blend of human consciousness and machine capability. "Final sequence," Commander Morrison ordered. Amy took her squadron through their last demonstration. 5 ships moved in perfect harmony, creating patterns of energy that lit up space like a new constellation. They wrote humanity's message in the stars themselves. "We are here, we are strong, and we are not to be underestimated." As the squadron returned to the Aegis Dawn, silence fell over the observation deck. The alien representatives looked at each other, their various forms showing signs of shock, worry, and in some cases, the council chambers erupted into chaos the moment they returned from the observation deck. 100 different species all tried to speak at once, their voices mixing into a storm of noise. Ambassador Lisa Matthews stood calmly in the center of it all, watching the panic spread. Lieutenant Samantha Wright sat at her monitoring station in the Earth Embassy, her fingers flying over holographic displays. Urgent messages poured in from every corner of the galaxy. Every species was talking about what they had just witnessed. "Ambassador," she spoke into her secure comm, "the Ardanian delegation is calling for an immediate vote to censure Earth. They're claiming we violated natural evolution laws." Lisa had expected this. The Ardanians, with their belief in pure biological advancement, would see the neural interface as an abomination. She touched her comm unit. "Send them the historical records. Show them how the interface grew naturally from human medical technology. We didn't force this evolution. We embraced it." In another part of the station, Dr. Michelle Patterson worked frantically in her lab. Alien scanning attempts had increased tenfold since the demonstration. They all wanted to know how the neural interface worked. She smiled as she strengthened their security measures. Let them try. The real secret wasn't in the technology, it was in the human mind itself. The Zarkak's representative, Krastel, stood up in the council chamber, his scales now a deep purple of rage. This is an outrage. The humans deliberately withheld information about military capabilities. This is a violation of council law. Elder Xenthar's crystalline form pulsed with calm blue light, like the information about your planned invasion of Earth space, representative. The chamber went quiet. Lisa stepped forward, activating a new hologram. It showed detailed Zarkak's battle plans, fleet movements, supply lines, everything they had discovered. We developed the neural combat integration system because we had to, she said clearly. The Zarkaks left us no choice. They planned to invade Earth space within the next solar cycle. They thought we were weak, primitive, easy prey. She paused, looking directly at Krastal. They were wrong. Commander John Morrison watched the council feed from the Aegis Dawn's bridge. Major Amy Richardson and her squadron stood behind him, still in their neural interface suits. They had done their part. Now it was time for the politicians to do theirs. Sir, Linda Cooper spoke up. The Zarkak's fleet is changing formation. They're moving away from Earth space. Morrison nodded. They finally understand. We're not their prey. We never were. Back in the council chamber, the Ardanian peace delegate, Lyra, raised her feathered arms. This technology, it changes the balance of power. All our treaties, all our carefully maintained peace, it means nothing now. You're wrong, Lisa replied. It means everything. Because now you know that humanity can defend itself. We don't want war. We never did. But we will not be victims. Lieutenant Wright's voice came through Lisa's comm again. Ambassador, I'm picking up some interesting chatter. The smaller powers are already reaching out. They want to discuss alliances. Of course they did. The demonstration had shown them that humanity was stronger than anyone had guessed. Now they all wanted to be friends. Dr. Patterson's security systems caught another scanning attempt, this one more sophisticated. She traced it to the Mechanian delegation, artificial beings who had transcended their organic origins millennia ago. Clever, she muttered, watching their probe try to understand the neural interface. But not clever enough. She activated a new set of countermeasures. The Mechanians were in for a surprise if they thought they could copy human consciousness so easily. In a private chamber off the main council hall, Elder Xenthar met with Lisa. The Elder's crystalline form shifted through colors as they spoke. You knew about the invasion plans for months, they said. You could have brought this to the council immediately. Lisa nodded. We could have, but then we would have looked weak, begging for protection. Instead, we chose to solve the problem ourselves, to show the galaxy that humanity doesn't need protection. The Zarkaks will not forgive this humiliation. We don't need their forgiveness, Lisa replied. We just need their respect. And now we have it. On the Aegis Dawn, Amy Richardson removed her neural interface helmet. Her squadron did the same, all of them feeling the strange emptiness that came from disconnecting from each other's minds. Think they got the message? Paul Baker asked, running a hand through his sweat-soaked hair. Amy smiled. Oh, they got it. The question is, what will they do about it? The answer came sooner than expected. Lieutenant Wright's voice crackled through the station's comm system. Ambassador, the Zarkaks are calling for a full council vote. They want to establish new protocols for military technology sharing. Lisa laughed quietly. Of course they did. They wanted access to the neural interface technology. Tell them we'll be happy to discuss technology sharing after they publicly withdraw their invasion plans and sign a non-aggression treaty. In the main chamber, the various delegations had broken into smaller groups, all of them discussing what they had seen. The Mechanians huddled with the Quantum Collective, their artificial minds trying to understand how organic brains could achieve such perfect synchronization. The warrior races spoke in hushed tones about the military implications. The peaceful species worried about what this would mean for galactic stability. Dr. Patterson finished installing her latest security upgrade and sat back with a sigh. "They really don't understand," she said to her team. "They think it's just about the technology. They don't see that it's about humanity itself, our ability to adapt, to grow, to become more than we were." Commander Morrison received a new report from Earth Command. More neural squadrons were being trained. Soon, humanity would have an entire fleet of neural integrated ships, not for conquest, just to make sure that no one ever thought of humanity as easy prey again. As the day drew to a close, Lisa stood at a window overlooking the testing grounds where the demonstration had taken place. The 3 suns of Alpha Centauri were setting, painting space in brilliant colors. "Beautiful, isn't it?" she said to Elder Xanthar, who had joined her. "Indeed," the elder chimed. "Your people have surprised us today, Ambassador. I suspect you will continue to do so." Lisa smiled. "That's what humans do best, Elder. We surprise people, usually ourselves most of all." In the Earth Embassy, Lieutenant Wright was already preparing reports on how the various species had reacted to the demonstration. One thing was clear: the galaxy would never see humanity the same way again. The age of human irrelevance was over. The real question was, what would come next? Security Chief Daniel Carter walked through the dimly lit corridors of the station's maintenance level, his footsteps echoing softly. He knew they were coming. The Zarkax would never accept their humiliation without trying something. He had spent the last 12 hours preparing for their response. "All teams in position," he spoke quietly into his comm unit. Around him, hidden in shadows and service tunnels, 30 of Earth's best security operators waited. They weren't using neural interfaces. This kind of work required old-fashioned human instincts. In the Earth Embassy's security center, Lieutenant Samantha Wright monitored the station's internal sensors. "Movement detected in Section 7, she reported. 3 Zarkax life signs, moving toward the Neural Squadron's docking bay." Daniel smiled. "They were right on schedule. Let them get closer," he whispered. "Let's see what they're planning." Above them, in the main diplomatic sections of the station, Ambassador Lisa Matthews was keeping the Zarkax delegation busy. She had called for a detailed review of their invasion plans, forcing their representatives to sit through hours of embarrassing explanations. "Please continue, Representative Krastal," she said smoothly. "You were explaining why your fleet movements near Saturn were purely defensive." The Zarkax diplomat's scales had taken on a sickly green color. He knew what she was doing, keeping him and his senior staff occupied while something else happened elsewhere. But he couldn't leave without looking even more suspicious. In her lab, Dr. Michelle Patterson watched her security systems light up with warnings. Someone was trying to access the neural interface data cores. Not through computer systems this time. They were attempting a direct physical breach. "Chief Carter," she called through the secure channel. "They're going for the backup servers in Section 12. "I see them," Daniel replied. 3 more Zarkax operatives, moving through maintenance shafts. They were good. Their stealth fields would have hidden them from normal sensors. But humanity had learned a lot about Zarkax technology over the years of watching them. Commander John Morrison stood on the bridge of the Aegis Dawn, watching the situation unfold on his tactical displays. Major Amy Richardson and her squadron were suited up, ready to launch if needed. But this battle wouldn't be fought with ships. "Sir," Linda Cooper called from her station, "the Zarkax cruiser is moving. They're taking up position behind the station's 4th ring." Morrison nodded. "Trying to block our neural squadron's launch tubes. Clever, but unnecessary." He touched his comm. "Chief Carter, they're all yours." Daniel gave the signal. His teams moved silently through the maintenance corridors, closing in on both groups of Zarkax infiltrators. They didn't use energy weapons or neural tech, just simple, efficient stun weapons that the Zarkak shields couldn't detect until it was too late. The first group of saboteurs went down without a sound. The second group realized something was wrong when their teammates stopped reporting in. They turned to retreat, only to find their path blocked. Going somewhere. Daniel stepped out of the shadows, stun weapon held casually at his side. The diplomatic section is the other way. I think you gentlemen took a wrong turn. In the council chamber, Lisa watched Krastel receive a message on his personal communicator. The change in his scale color, from sickly green to pale white, told her everything she needed to know. Is everything all right, Representative? She asked innocently. You seem disturbed. This is an outrage. Krastel sputtered. You laid a trap for our people. Your people? Lisa raised an eyebrow. Oh, you mean the infiltration team that somehow got lost in our maintenance sections. The ones carrying experimental neural interface disruptors. She touched her comm unit, and images appeared in the air. The captured Zarkax operatives, their illegal weapons, the damaged security systems they had left in their wake. Elder Xenthar's crystalline form pulsed with dark colors. Representative Krastal, you will explain this immediately. In the security center, Lieutenant Wright was already documenting everything. The Ardanian delegation is calling for sanctions against the Zarkax, she reported. The Mechanian Collective is withdrawing from their military alliance. Dr. Patterson surveyed the attempted breach of her systems with professional interest. They actually thought they could steal our neural interface data with these primitive tools. She shook her head. It would be funny if it wasn't so sad. On the Aegis Dawn, Amy Richardson watched the Zarkax cruiser slowly back away from its position. They knew they had been caught. Their attempt to prevent the Neural Squadron from launching had failed before it even began. Almost feels unsporting. Paul Baker commented from his station. They never had a chance, did they? They had every chance, Amy replied. They chose to underestimate us. Again. Daniel Carter supervised as his team secured the captured infiltrators. The Zarkax warriors were still unconscious, their scaled forms limp. No injuries, he reported, though their pride might take a while to recover. In the council chamber, the political damage was spreading. Other species were backing away from the Zarkax, not wanting to be associated with their failed sabotage attempt. Their reputation for military superiority, already damaged by the neural interface demonstration, was crumbling further. The Council will need to consider sanctions, Elder Xenthar announced. This breach of diplomatic protocol cannot go unanswered. Lisa watched Krastel's delegation crumble under the pressure. This was what humanity had planned for, not just to demonstrate their strength, but to catch their enemies in the act when they inevitably tried to steal or destroy what they couldn't understand. We are prepared to be merciful, she said into the uncomfortable silence. Earth has no desire for punishment or revenge. We simply want peace, on equal terms. Commander Morrison received the final all-clear from security. The Zarkax had been thoroughly outplayed. Their attempt to sabotage the Neural Squadron had only served to weaken their position further. Sometimes the best victories are the ones where you never have to fire a shot, he commented to his bridge crew. In her lab, Dr. Patterson began analyzing the Zarkax neural interface disruptors. They were impressive weapons, but designed to attack computer systems, not the unique human-machine synthesis that Earth had developed. They still don't understand, she told her team. They think they can fight this with technology alone. They don't see that our strength isn't in our machines, it's in our humanity. As the day cycle drew to a close, Daniel Carter filed his final report. The Zarkax infiltrators would be detained until their government negotiated their release, probably in exchange for significant diplomatic concessions. Not bad for a day's work, he said to Lieutenant Wright, as they compared notes. Think they'll try again? Samantha smiled. Probably. But next time they'll think twice about underestimating Earth's primitive security measures. In the diplomatic quarter, Lisa Matthews prepared for another round of negotiations. The Zarkax had lost face, but they were still dangerous. Perhaps even more dangerous now that they had been humiliated twice in one day. But humanity was ready. They had spent years preparing for this moment, learning their enemies' ways, developing countermeasures that went beyond simple technology. They had proven that they could match and exceed alien technology. More importantly, they had shown that human ingenuity, human adaptability, and human determination were forces that the galaxy had seriously underestimated. The real question was, what would their enemies try next? The great hall of the Centauri Peace Station gleamed under the light of 3 suns. 2 weeks had passed since the neural interface demonstration and the failed Zarkax sabotage attempt. Now representatives from 50 species gathered to witness something unprecedented: the signing of the Centauri Accords. Ambassador Lisa Matthews stood at the center of the hall, watching as delegates took their places. Commander Peter Harrison, newly appointed head of the Joint Forces Initiative, stood beside her. They had worked hard to reach this moment. Nervous? Peter asked quietly. Lisa smiled, cautiously optimistic. The Zarkax delegation just arrived. Their new representative seems more reasonable than Krastal. The new Zarkax representative, Solvin, walked with the stiff dignity of someone trying to rebuild their species' reputation. His scales showed a calm blue color, a deliberate display of peaceful intentions. In orbit above the station, Major Amy Richardson led her neural squadron through a different kind of demonstration. This time, they flew in formation with ships from 10 other species, showing how the neural interface technology could be adapted for joint operations. "Keep it smooth," she told her pilots through the neural link. "Remember, we're not showing off today. We're showing them how to work together." Lieutenant Samantha Wright monitored the joint exercise from her new position in the Peace Station's control center. Neural synchronization holding steady at 82% across all participating ships, she reported. The alien pilots are adapting well to the simplified interface. This was part of the agreement. A limited version of the neural interface technology would be shared with peaceful species. Dr. Michelle Patterson had designed a special variant that allowed for basic neural synchronization without revealing the full capabilities of the human system. "The Mechanian pilots are showing particularly strong adaptation," she noted, watching the readings. Their synthetic minds seemed to grasp the concepts quickly. Commander John Morrison watched from the Aegis Dawn, now designated as the flagship for the new joint fleet. "It's strange," he said to his bridge crew. 2 weeks ago, we were preparing to defend against an invasion. Now we're teaching them how to use our technology." "Not all of it," Chief Engineer Kevin Martinez reminded him. "They're getting the basic neural interface. The real system." He smiled. "That stays with us." In her private lab, Dr. Patterson continued her work on the next generation of the neural interface. The current version, impressive as it was just the beginning. She had already seen hints of capabilities that went far beyond simple ship control. "Doctor," one of her assistants called. "The Ardanian biological research team is here for their scheduled consultation." Even the Ardanians had come around. After seeing how the neural interface worked with natural human brain patterns rather than against them, they had withdrawn their objections. Now they were eager to study its medical applications. Security Chief Daniel Carter walked the halls of the Peace Station, his trained eyes checking every corner. Things were calmer now, but he hadn't survived this long by getting complacent. The Zarkax had been humbled, not defeated. "All security teams report normal status." Lieutenant Wright's voice came through his comm. "The Zarkax delegation is behaving themselves." In the Great Hall, the signing ceremony began. Elder Xanthar's crystalline form glowed with all the colors of the rainbow as they read the terms of the Accords. "Let it be known," they chimed, "that on this day, we establish a new framework for peace and cooperation. The Neural Technology Exchange Program will be overseen by a joint council. Military applications will be strictly controlled. All signatories agree to share defensive innovations while respecting proprietary developments." Lisa stepped forward to sign for Earth. The pen felt strange in her hand. Many species had moved beyond such physical signatures. But humans had insisted on this traditional touch. It felt right to sign such an important document by hand. Solven signed next, his scaled hand steady. The Zarkax Empire had lost face, but they had gained something more valuable. A chance to be part of this new future rather than fighting against it. One by one, the other representatives signed. Each signature represented a step away from the old power structures and towards something new. In orbit, Amy's squadron completed their demonstration with a complex dance of ships. Human, alien, and hybrid vessels moved together in patterns that would have been impossible without the neural interface technology. Beautiful, Paul Baker commented through the neural link. Almost makes me forget they were ready to invade us a few weeks ago. That's the point, Amy replied. We show them a better way. Whether they take it or not is up to them. Back in the hall, Lisa prepared to give her closing speech. She had rehearsed it dozens of times, but now, looking at the assembled representatives, she decided to speak from the heart instead. Today marks more than just a diplomatic agreement, she began. It marks a recognition that progress doesn't have to mean conflict. Humanity developed the neural interface because we had to, because we faced threats we couldn't overcome any other way. But in developing it, we discovered something more important than just a new technology. She paused, looking around the hall. We discovered that the true power of the neural interface isn't in how it lets us control machines. It's in how it lets us connect with each other, to understand each other. Today, we take the first step towards sharing that understanding with all species who choose peace over war. In the control center, Lieutenant Wright noticed something interesting in her readings. The neural synchronization rates are still climbing, she reported. They're achieving better coordination than we predicted. Dr. Patterson nodded. Of course they are, because they're not trying to dominate the technology anymore. They're trying to work with it, with each other. Commander Morrison received the final reports from the joint exercise. Every participating ship had performed above expectations. The alien pilots were learning quickly, adapting to the new technology with surprising skill. Maybe this will actually work, he said quietly. It will work, Peter Harrison replied from the hall. Because we're giving them something better than weapons. We're giving them a reason to work together. As the ceremony concluded, Lisa met privately with Elder Xenthar. The crystalline being's colors had settled into a peaceful blue glow. You knew this would happen, they said. When you revealed the neural interface, you already had this peace plan prepared. Lisa nodded. We hoped it would work out this way. Humanity has had enough of war. We developed this technology to defend ourselves, but we always hoped we could use it to build something better. And the full capabilities of your neural interface, will you ever share those? Maybe someday, Lisa replied. When the galaxy is ready. When we're all ready. As the three suns sat on the peace station, humanity had achieved something remarkable. They had turned a potential war into a chance for peace. They had taken a weapon and turned it into a tool for cooperation. But in her lab, Dr. Patterson looked at her latest research results and smiled. The neural interface they had shown the galaxy, impressive as it was just the beginning. Humanity's journey to the stars was just getting started. The new era had begun.